I hope you've been enjoying looking at the life of Jesus through the eyes of Luke as much as I have. And today we're going to talk about Luke chapter 7, verses 1 to 17. It's a little long, but enjoyable. When Jesus had finished saying all this to the people who were listening, he entered Capernaum. There, a centurion's servant, whom his master valued highly, was sick and about to die. The centurion heard of Jesus and sent some elders of the Jews to him, asking him to come and heal his servant. When they came to Jesus, they pleaded earnestly with him, "This man deserves to have you do this because he loves our nation and has built our synagogue." So Jesus went with them. He was not far from the house when the centurion sent friends to say to him, "Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. That is why I did not even consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority with soldiers under me. I tell this one, 'Go,' and he goes, and that one, 'Come,' and he comes. I say to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turning to the crowd following him, he said, "I tell you, I have not found such great faith, even in Israel." Then the men who had been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. Soon afterward, Jesus went to a town called Nain, and his disciples and a large crowd went along with him. As he approached the town gate, a dead person was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And a large crowd from the town was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said, "Don't cry." Then he went up and touched the bier where they were carrying him on, and the bearers stood still. He said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. They were all filled with awe and praised God. "A great prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has come to help his people." This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country. I've been talking about the surprising things that Jesus does, but I love that this first story about the centurion and his dying servant surprises Jesus. In fact, it says he was amazed. In case you were wondering whether Jesus could be surprised, well, now you know, he was. I imagine you've heard a number of sermons about this miracle, probably because it's more about the obvious humility and faith of the centurion than it is about Jesus. And frankly, we identify with him more than we do with Christ. Sometimes that's just easier to preach about. Jesus is complicated and fascinating and, as I keep saying, full of surprises. Sometimes we just don't know what to do with him. Not long after he does this long-distance miracle, he traveled to a town called Nain. He has a large crowd with him, and as he enters the town, he meets another large crowd leaving the town. It's a funeral procession, and as is the custom, the lead mourner is in the front. It's a mother, a widow. She's just lost her only son. When Jesus meets her, his heart goes out to her, and he says, "Don't cry." Have you ever said that? I have, and it's gotten me in trouble. It's a little tricky. I was told that when I said it, I wasn't letting my friend feel her feelings. Now, in my own defense, I thought I had a solution for her problems and that she didn't need to cry, but still, she was right. She hadn't asked for my help, and I was saying, "Don't cry." She was allowed to feel her feelings and wait. I could wait for her to ask me for my help. This woman who just lost her only son may not have been happy to hear, "Don't cry." It made no sense to her. I don't know. Unlike the centurion, at this point, nobody asks Jesus to help. But that's what he did. And he did the most surprising thing at this point. He went up and touched the bier on which this young man was laid. That made Jesus ceremonially unclean. Why would he do that? He didn't have to. We know that he could heal long distance. We just read that story. But he did. He touched it. And it shocked everyone. The pallbearers stopped in their tracks. I imagine there was a gasp from the crowd. He did it intentionally. But then he brought the young man back to life. So I guess that takes away the uncleanness, right? Nobody dead here. Jesus gave him back to his mother, which I think is a sweet idea. I can just imagine him bringing the man along and saying, here you go. Both Elijah and Elisha in the Old Testament did a similar thing, bringing a young man back from death, or a boy, and giving him back to their mothers. But that had happened hundreds of years before. But I think that's probably the reason why the reaction from the crowd was, a great prophet has appeared among us. Today, people read this story and wonder if it really happened. Is somebody exaggerating a little? Was the guy really dead? But also, people say, well, if I saw Jesus raise someone from the dead, I'd believe him. I haven't seen it for myself, though, so I don't know. Those crowds did see Jesus' miracle, but yet not all of them did believe. I think that that's interesting. I think that that suggests that God does not force faith on us. Even if a man is raised from the dead, we don't necessarily believe. We have a choice. And today, I hope that you will choose faith. Amen.